Let's make Japanese milk bread. It's eggless, delicious, and perfect for sandwiches. Let me show you how to make it. So this recipe is a little bit more precise. So we're gonna start with about 500 grams of water. To that 500 grams, I'm gonna add some sugar, have a bit of salt. We're gonna add some honey. I'm just gonna scrape that in. I'm gonna stir the water just to dissolve the honey and the sugar. Now that our sugar and our honey is dissolved, we're gonna add 2 packs of active dry yeast. I'm gonna go ahead and stir in our yeast until it's dissolved also. We're gonna go ahead and let this mixture stand until foaming, which should be about 5 minutes. I'm gonna grab a large bowl, and to said bowl, I'm gonna go ahead and add 700 grams of bread flour. Now to my flour, I'm gonna add about 40 grams of milk powder. I'm just gonna take a fork and just gonna mix that in together just to make sure all the flour and the milk powder is distributed together. As you can see, our yeast is bloomed, so that means now we're ready to use it. All right, so now I'm gonna pour my liquid yeast mixture into the flour mixture. I'm gonna go ahead and stir this together until it forms a shaggy dough. Our dough is now come together. I'm just gonna pour the dough onto the bench. It is a little sticky, but this is a dough that we really do not want to add any extra flour to. Now we want to start kneading the dough until it becomes less sticky, and then we're gonna go ahead and add our butter. When I'm kneading, I like to do the push and pull method. All right, now I'm just gonna make a well in the dough. I'm gonna add about 50 grams of my homemade butter to the dough. Now I'm just gonna cover the dough in the butter. I'm just gonna use my big scraper just to cut the butter into the dough. This is kind of a messy process, but it does come together. All right, now that we're cutting our butter, we're gonna keep kneading it to elastic. It's now a lot smoother and a lot more elastic. All right, we're doing the window pane test, and this is done. Now I'm gonna grease up a large bowl. I'm gonna take the dough and I'm gonna put it in a bowl. I'm gonna cover with a tea towel and let it rise for about 40 minutes to an hour. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and uncover it, and look like our dough has risen. I'm gonna take my hand just to push it down. Next, I'm gonna grab my kitchen scale. I'm gonna go ahead and add the dough. We're looking at about 1,346 grams, and we're gonna split the dough into 6 equal pieces. I'm gonna form my balls. So the trick is you're gonna take one of the dough balls, flatten it out, then start pushing the edges of it right into the middle. I'm gonna turn it over. We're gonna let the surface tension on the bench just help us, just like that. Now that we got all our dough balls formed, we're gonna just cover them again, and we're gonna rest them for 15 minutes on the bench. I prepare my molds by taking some melted butter and rubbing it all over the pan. I like to do this with the lid also, since I am making one flat top bread. I took a dough ball and rolled it into a rectangular shape. I'm just pulling one edge lengthwise to the center, and I'm gonna take the other end and I'm gonna fold it on top of that. We're gonna take 2 ends right there, and I'm gonna just roll it up towards me. And you see we have our first roll. Now I'm gonna place one into the side. And you're gonna continue this process until all your dough balls have been shaped. Now that the dough is formed, we're gonna take some cling wrap and we're gonna cover the dough for the second proofing. And now that the dough is 80% risen, I'm gonna go ahead and slide the top on this one that I'm gonna use for the flatbread. All right, we're at the end of our last rise. We're just gonna spray the top of it with some water. Now we're gonna go ahead and bake this on 400 for 25 to 30 minutes. All right, the bread is out of the oven. I'm gonna go ahead and top both of them, just relieve that steam. Now I'm gonna turn out the first loaf. Now I'm gonna take the top off the second one. So now I'm gonna let both of these cool on the rack. All right, the bread is now cool, and look how spongy that is. Now I'm gonna grab my bread slicer, and if you wanna check this out, you can check it out on my storefront in my Amazon shop. I'll leave the link in the description. There we go, and look at that, a nice slice of Japanese milk bread. Perfect for sandwiches, perfect for whatever else you wanna use bread for. Simply delicious.